What is your American dream?
My American dream is humility with humanity. What I mean by that is when you walk into a room, realize that the first thing that you have the same is that you will be different. And until you get to know that person and learn about them, make your own decisions.
My American dream will be to, it's time for the new generation to come and pass the torch.
My American dream would be that the U.S. learns community and culture from Mexico and from all of its immigrants, because that is what makes America beautiful.
It's about putting good stories out there. There's so many things that we should be aware of. For me, it would be amazing as an American dream if I could open doors to more women to produce their content.
We are the United States. We're not the divided states. So that's my dream, that everybody can see that. So today, that's why I decided to do this exhibition on a Sunday, which Sundays are family days in Latin America. It's called a Domingo Familiar, so that we can all get together as families, not only to celebrate who we are, but also to help others stay together that cannot be together.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Groundhog Sam! Oh, George, I know how difficult all of this is. I know that soon we'll be able to socialize again, marmot to marmot. I know, George. I miss the parties we used to have. Remember when we used to get together in Brad's office with Groundhog Shirley and Groundhog Maxine? I know, George, and I also really miss how we used to do gigs together. We used to really jam out. By the time we got to Bradstone, we were 500,000 strong. And we also used to even work out together. I miss all of that, too. You can do it. Good, George. Good, you got it. You got it. Keep going. Keep going. Whoa! I know, George, but don't worry. Not all is lost. First of all, we just have to get through this, George. Don't you worry. Soon enough, we're all going to be back together again, socializing, nose to nose. But in the meantime, I have some really exciting news for you today, George. Yep, that's it. Bradshaw Live is back in studio. That's right. Today, Brad is back in the studio, and he's going to be joined by Vanessa and Yonathan. So guess what, George? All is not lost at the beginning of an awesome week. So don't fret. That's right, George. You keep that groundhog chin of yours up, and we'll see each other soon. Now is the time you have all been waiting for. It's time for Bradshaw Live, starring Brad Bernstein with Vanessa Ness-Quick Contreras and Yonathan Yo-Yo Elias. Enjoy! All right, George, signing off for now. Let's resume Zoom after the show. Get what I did there? Ha 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 ha! Play on words. Yep, that's me funny. Okay, enjoy the show!
Welcome, everybody. It is Bradshaw Live. My name is Brad Bernstein. I am back in the studio, and somewhere out in the tri-state area, I am joined, as most of the time, except when it's a quarantine pandemic edition, Yonathan Yo-Yo Elias and Vanessa Ness-Quick Contreras. How are you guys doing? What's up?
Amazing. I feel good to be back.
Yes, it's been a good 3 weeks, right?
I know.
You didn't even miss me. Nobody missed me.
Brad, you know I was stalking your Instagram the whole time.
Yeah, and I didn't really post much.
I saw you all in the air. I saw
Yes.
you do that hot air balloon.
Yes, I did the hot air balloon. And Vanessa, what's going on with you?
Nothing, keeping busy. My
Yes.
birthday's in about a week, so
Wow. When do you celebrate Vanessa's birth month, birth week, or birthday? What is it?
it's a whole month.
It's a whole month of Vanessa.
Oh,
What have you done so far?
I've worked a bunch. That's what Vanessa does. Worked a bunch.
That's not a birthday celebration. Let's say hello. Let's say hello to the squad, though. Carol Anderson, the Tiger, saying squad up. Yo-Yo and Vanessa. Elizabeth Francis, what's going on? Jessica Leamy, Joelle. Who else we have here? Jessica Leamy with lots of comments today. Dion Watson, squad up. Ma Dukes, what's going on? Marion Diaz, how are you? Share, Strachan. Good evening, Uncle Brad and Brad Squad crew. What's up? Joan Grant, how are you? Stargirl Mika, Jeremy Goldberg, saying that Groundhog Sam, what a ham. He's always rhyming this, Jeremy Goldberg. Stargirl Mika, up, sis. I don't know who sis is, but up to her. Lance Paul, how are you? And Myrtle Ray, squad up. Iffy Weezu. I guess the N is silent. Iffy Weezu is watching. How are you? I think I said Marcia McCullough already. Maria Dixon, squad up, team Dion Watson. Tamika Nelson, popping in on YouTube. Blaze Mbai. Greetings, Uncle Brad. Always good to see, and thank you for the good job. Thank you very much. Yo-Yo popping in there. Elizabeth Juasso, squad up. Miss Sunshine, Sasha Peter. I don't know what's going on YouTube. Not lots of people, but eventually they will show up. Yo-Yo and Vanessa, why don't you tell everybody what they need to do to get some people on YouTube, get some people on Facebook, and let's start this party.
absolutely. All right, first things first, I need everybody on all social media to join the Facebook squad. This is the VIP Brad Squad on Facebook. You will get a lot of different incentives. We've already done some good games with some of y'all that are on there, only the VIP members. But most importantly, anytime throughout the day, you can throw on your question right there. Anytime, even before the show starts, while the show is going on, just make sure that you do it before the show actually starts so we can pick the first 5 questions and we'll ask those before any social media questions that they put on during the show. You will get the first 5, so please join that Brad Squad. You're going to have to make sure you like it and request to join, and we will accept it. All right, now, sharing is caring, everybody on Facebook. Now, we're going to talk about YouTube a little later, but for Facebook, that's me. So I need you guys to share. We need to get these numbers up. We need to make sure that more people know about the show. And the only way to do it is through you. All right? The knowledge, just knowing that you have all that power in your hands, I want you guys to show us. Show us how you're going to use that power. Please share this to anyone's page, share it into the inbox, share it into different groups and communities that you guys are a part of. There's so many different cultural groups in here that we can help the world. Literally, we can help the world. Everybody needs some kind, or everybody knows somebody at least that needs help with immigration issues. So please share. Also throw in all your comments and your questions in the comment section. If you want to talk to us individually at us, we will answer back. Ness-Quick and I are all up in the comments, so talk to us about your weeks, talk to us about the stories that we're talking about, talk to us about the stories that will be called in. So just talk. We love the interaction. Also throw in all your emojis, throw the like, love, smiley face, sad face, wow face, mad face, whatever emotion you guys are feeling, make sure you show that. All right, and Ness-Quick, what are we going to do on YouTube?
Okay, Brad Squad, we are finally back. So let's get those thumbs up going. You guys already know how it goes on YouTube. If you haven't already, you should be subscribed to the channel and make sure that you turn on the notification bell so you guys always know when Brad's show is live. Alrighty, guys, so we're looking out in the comments. Make sure that you're asking your questions there. Like I said, we are better than this team. We need those thumbs up. Let everybody know that Brad's show live is back in the studio and that we're here to answer your immigration questions for free. You guys know all the knowledge and the value that Brad brings, and there's always someone out there that you can share this information with. So make sure that you click that little share button right below. Copy the link, send it through a WhatsApp group, send it to family, friends. Everyone needs to know about what's going on this show. So it's up to you guys. That's all we need from you guys is to share. Of course, squad, we are on Instagram. So at Brad Show Live, make sure that you're following us there. You can also ask questions in our direct messages on Instagram. The squad is looking out for those behind the scenes. So make sure that you direct message us and like, comment, and of course you should be following us. Stay posted on Instagram because every now and again there's some great giveaways and you don't want to miss out on that. But finally, now that we're back, let's get to some schmoozing with Brad.
All right, Vanessa, I just realized something, Ness-Quick. What day is your birthday this week? What day is it? What day are we going to be celebrating your birthday, Ness-Quick?
We're a month apart, you and I. I'm the 27th of October.
Ah, you are the 27th. Well, the debate is coming up this Thursday, and it is October 22nd, which is also my mother's birthday. So for a second, I thought you and my mother shared the same birthday, and I'm like, two boss ladies in my life with the same exact. No wonder. I mean, I call two people boss ladies in my life, you and my mother. So, but you're off by about 5 days. And the only reason I'm saying this is because the last presidential debate is this Thursday, and my entire family told my mother, Mom, we're going to go celebrate your birthday this weekend. We all want to watch the debate. So so poor Mom nobody's going out with Mom on her birthday except my father. They decided they don't care what happens in America. They're in their 80s, whatever. You guys vote for whoever you want. We're past our prime already. That's what they told me. But they're going to vote, but they're not going to watch the debate. But the rest of our family is staying home to watch the debate. And by the way, they did a poll, Vanessa and Yo-Yo. They did a poll, and Gallup did a poll to decide what the topics for this Thursday's debate between Trump and Biden is going to be. What do you think is the number one topic on most people's minds, if you had to take a guess? You're a voter. You're an American. What's number one priority, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, if you had to take a guess?
Jeez, like right now?
Right now.
I would say it's either between like COVID related or like work related, like with unemployment.
Ding, ding, ding! COVID! Everybody! Exactly. Thank you, Julian. It's all COVID. That's what is on everybody's mind. And now, the number one topic of conversation in the debates in 2016 didn't even make it in the top 10 or even 20 issues. It's not even going to be in the debate at all, this. What do you think is the number one issue in 2016 that Donald Trump made a big deal about that nobody cares about right now?
The wall.
Immigration, correct. Less than 3% of the people in the Gallup poll felt immigration was an important topic to talk about during the presidential debate. Now, you can look at this in one of two ways. You could look at this saying, wow, that's really bad for immigrants. What a horrible thing. Nobody even cares about immigrants anymore. Or you could look at it and say, well, most people have decided their thoughts on immigration anymore. We don't need a debate. And I'll tell you, go ahead.
I would think that you should have a debate on it just because, like, you want to find out what you're going to change, right? Like, we want to know what's going to change because everything that's been happening in immigration has just been horrible with the detention caps, separating the family. I would think that it might not be the top, question or, but like, I felt like they should still at least touch on the topic.
Well, I'll tell you this. Most Americans, according to the Gallup poll that was done. This poll was done to determine what are the issues most important to Americans in this election. Okay, so this is a brand new poll that was done by Gallup to determine the issues for this debate. And as part of that poll, you know what they discovered, Gallup? They discovered that 8 in 10 Americans think immigration is a good thing for the United States of America. What a stark contrast to the opinions of Donald Trump when he won the election in 2016, when he was yelling, build the wall, Mexicans are rapists, and Africa is a shithole.
Right. So with that, so you said 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. 4 out of 5.
So
80% of Americans think there should be more immigration to America, not less. This, in the last week or two, this has been done.
Especially
wouldn't you think?
With all the travel bans that we've been talking about on the show, like these are things that need to be discussed so people know where they stand moving forward.
As a matter of fact, this is the first year since Gallup has been doing this poll, and they have been doing polls on immigration since 1965. So what is that? That's over 50 years of polling on immigration. This is the first time that Gallup has found that Americans want more immigration, not less. First year ever. First year ever.
Wow.
So the presidential debate's going to come out on Thursday. It'll be spoofed on SNL on Saturday. I am sure Donald Trump will be, yelling at Biden, not letting him talk, trying to maybe even get his gerbs on Biden. Who knows? Who knows what's going to, I mean, it's going to be something crazy, right?
I thought about you guys the whole time. I was so upset that, we were off the air during the first debate because I'm like, I want to hear what the guys have to say about this mess. Hopefully things are smoother this time around because last time, that was a show.
Well, you know what it is I actually even think at this point, nobody is real. I mean, you really got to be in a coma to when CNN or MSNBC or any of these news shows, bring on these voters, and these are the undecided voters. How could you possibly be undecided at this point? I mean, were you in a coma for the last 4 years? I was watching on CNN. They had a group of 10 undecided voters, and they're like, I'd really like to see what Trump and Biden are going to say in this debate. I'm like, must be that they really had to look really far and wide to find 10 people who still don't know who they're going to vote for. I mean, I'm like, these people must have been like in a hospital, in a coma, and they just woke them up after 20 years.
That's right.
I think personally, I don't think watching this debate, anybody is going to change their mind. People who want Biden are going to still vote for Biden at the end of this debate. People who want Trump are going to want Trump at the end of the debate. I don't think somebody's going to watch the debate and say, you know what, I'm going to switch my vote. I would find it really hard to believe. I will say what this is for, which is why Trump is going to try to railroad Biden. It's not about changing people's minds. It's about getting people excited to go out and vote. That's what Trump's thing is in this debate, and that's what Biden's thing should be also in this debate. Getting your voter who may be in favor of Trump or maybe in favor of Biden, who may say, you know what, I don't have the energy to go wait online. It's cold, maybe it's bad weather, maybe the line's are long, maybe I'm concerned I'm going to get COVID, maybe it's not that important to me. This is to get that voter who may be inclined to vote for Trump, has decided I'm a Trump supporter, or may be inclined to vote for Biden, I'm a Biden supporter, to get up off the couch, go wait online and vote. This whole debate is get out the vote for your voters, which is why Trump is going to be Trump. Trump,
Yeah.
so you're going to watch CNN after, or you're going to watch MSNBC, and you're going to have all these people saying, Trump didn't do any service to himself. We don't understand why he says QAnon is a legitimate thing. He's not denouncing QAnon. He's not denouncing racism. He's not denouncing Proud Boys. It's because he's trying to encourage his group of people to vote. That's what he's trying to do. He's not trying to change anybody's mind at this point, and neither is Biden. Biden is, Mr. Rogers. Okay, that's his thing. He's the complete opposite of Donald Trump. He's playing Mr. Rogers. I mean, I think even Jim Carrey put on the Mr. Rogers vest on Saturday Night Live. I said it was perfect thing. He's Mr. Rogers. And he's like, I'm trying to be like this old, grandfatherly, calm figure. By the way, Biden is not. He's not a calm figure at all. He was a yeller during the 2012 vice presidential debate against Palin. He was yelling at Palin. He was a bulldog. But now he's turned into like this soft Mr. Rogers. It's a comparison to Trump. And it's all about, Paul Ryan, excuse me. It's all about getting out their voters. That's what it is. Nobody's changing their mind. And they march in 10 people. I want to hear what they have to say. I haven't decided who I'm going to vote. Are you in a coma?
Right. Biden was in Florida today, so we'll see how that goes. He had his rally in Florida.
I thought, was Biden in Florida or was Kamala in Florida?
I know there was a Democrat rally. I thought it was Biden, but it could have been.
Yeah, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think it was Kamala who went to Florida, and Biden is preparing for the debate. But I could be wrong. Maybe Biden did show up in Florida at the end. Yeah. Meanwhile, guys, are you following the Supreme Court nomination of Amy Coney Barrett?
The what?
The Supreme Court nomination. There's a judge who's up for the Supreme Court.
Yes.
You're familiar with this woman?
I've been reading a little bit about it because this is what we were talking about when we were saying this is like the first time in history they're trying to replace it before the election or something like that.
Correct. And what's happening is they're trying to get a conservative judge onto the Supreme Court, because if you get a judge onto the Supreme Court, that's a position for life. And look, she looks like a relatively young woman. I think she's in her 40s. So now you have a conservative judge on the Supreme Court for the next 30, 40 years. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was on the court till she was 85. So assuming, Amy Coney Barrett wants to work as long and live as long as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she's on the court for the next 45 years as a very conservative judge. You're there for life. And the Republicans don't know if they're going to win or not. So if they railroad her into the Supreme Court right now, they've changed the trajectory of the Supreme Court for the next 40 years versus waiting two generations. Now, let me read you one of the most important decisions written by Judge Amy Coney Barrett. The Associated Press, they published a report on Barrett's most notable judicial opinions, which included a 2019 workplace discrimination case. Last year, less than 12 months ago. Okay, this decision, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, a 2019 workplace discrimination case in which she wrote the opinion that the use of the N-word in work, in the office, in the workplace, has not created a hostile or abusive working environment. That somebody could walk around and go N-word, 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 and that is not a hostile or abusive working environment. That was her decision. That is this woman who is going to be correct. That is this woman who is going to be on the Supreme Court for perhaps the next 40 years if she lives and works as long as Ruth Bader Ginsburg. In the ruling, Barrett said that while she found the use of the word abhorrent, she wasn't in favor of it, the plaintiff in the case had not made a strong enough case that harassment was occurring. She wrote, "The N-word is an egregious racial epithet. That said, Smith can't win simply by proving that the word was uttered. He must also demonstrate that Colbert's use of the word altered the conditions of his employment and created a hostile or abusive working environment." Now, even Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, okay, he was the other Trump appointee. He was the one who was accused of raping a woman when he was 18, disagreed with this ruling. He wrote, "No other word in the English language so powerfully or instantly calls to mind our country's long and brutal struggle to overcome racism. A single sufficiently severe incident may create a hostile work environment." Now, with that being said, I gotta lay it all out for you. Judge Amy Comey Barrett, she adopted 2 black children.
That's what I read. Yes.
Yes.
That's what they said.
Yes. She has 2 black children who she adopted, yet she also adopted. Like she feels that if her children were to grow up and go into a working environment and go into an office, and somebody would say to them, "Hey, N, can you get me some coffee?" That's perfectly okay. Because it was only, she said, one utterance of it doesn't make it a hostile. You could walk over to somebody and say, "Hey, N, get me some coffee. Hey, N, good memo." How is that not extraordinarily hostile, offensive, given the history of America and how blacks and minorities have had to overcome racism in the workforce and racism in general? That's wild.
Yeah, down to like the history of the word, like how it's even used. I didn't realize that she had adopted 2 African American children.
I read that. She did.
And the children are Haitian, Jill told me in my ear. I didn't know they were Haitian. She adopted them from Haiti.
So she won't have a problem with their employees, or that she won't have a problem with their employers calling them the N-word then, correct?
Apparently not. Apparently she doesn't. That doesn't seem to be hostile enough. All I can tell you is, I was just even talking to Jill off the air before we got on. I said, if anybody said that here in this office, they'd be fired. Period. Immediately. Right. I don't accept that. I said, can you imagine, I'm Jewish. I don't,
right.
All right, somebody says, walks by me and says, "Hey, Kike, how are you?" K-word, excuse me, but,
I was about to say the K-word.
Yeah.
I was like, woof, you actually said it.
Yeah, well, because I'm Jewish, so I said it this way. But
right.
I guess you get away with it if you're, but
yeah, that's
crazy. Yeah, I mean.
That's insane. It's literally going back to civil rights era when everybody, you could say it freely in any type of environment that you were in, and you would get away with it. It's okay to do that back then. It's not okay today to do this. So I don't understand how did that even come up like as a question? Is saying the N-word in a work environment hostile? How is that even a topic of discussion?
How did that even get on an appeal? How does that even get on appeal?
That's what I'm asking. Like how?
How does that even get on appeal? I don't know. Meanwhile, according
and I want to know.
By the way, all of this discussion, all of our discussion, it's for nothing. She's gonna be on the Supreme Court, but we should know who the Republicans are putting up there. We should know, think about it when we say, oh, maybe my vote doesn't matter. Maybe I don't need to go vote. Maybe it's not that important to me. Think about the importance of who they're putting on the Supreme Court that's going to affect your life, every person's life for the next 40 years in America. So, your vote matters. Your vote definitely matters. You don't want these people on the Supreme Court. I don't want somebody like that on the Supreme Court.
At all.
And by the way, if this election goes to a contested election, it's very, very close between Biden and Trump brings a lawsuit to contest the election, he's going to contest elections in particular states, and say, in Michigan, this was unfair. in Florida, this was unfair. And he's going to, all of this is eventually going to make it to the Supreme Court of the United States, who has to decide on all of this before the first week of January 2020, so that way we know who the president of the United States is going to be. I can assure you, the Supreme Court, I can't assure you, because who the hell knows what's going to happen. But I would put a bet on it. I would put a bet, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. Okay, if I went down to Atlantic City right now, me, you, Yo-Yo, the three of us, we drive to Atlantic City for the night, and you say, what do you want to bet? I would bet that this election ends up being decided by the Supreme Court of the United States of America. I think it's going to be close, and I think Trump is not going to give up, and he's going to sue in many different states, and it's eventually going to be decided by this judge that's going to be on the Supreme Court. She's not going to recuse herself.
Falling into place and how that's all aligning in Republicans' favor.
Yeah, it definitely is. That's why Biden is saying he has to win big, so that way it's not even brought into the courts.
I'm actually still a little upset about the comment. Like, my whole thing is she even using, you never know, like, oh, maybe for her it's like, well, I have children of color, so, I would understand this case. I'm still stuck on how it doesn't align and how
I don't understand how how you can maybe, if you don't understand the history of the word and the history of the United States of America, perhaps you could say, well, it's just a word. How is that hostile? But given the history of the United States of America and the history of that word,
yep.
You have to, as a judge, understand the history of where things come from. And when somebody calls you that word, it is derogatory, it is hurtful, it is to put you down, to make you feel bad, to make you feel inferior.
My thing is, how do you feel like it's okay when even in the title they have to say N-word? If it was okay and it wasn't hostile, you could just say the word.
Correct.
In the title.
Correct.
Why are you saying N-word?
You know what, Yo-Yo?
You know what I mean?
Yo-Yo, you should have. She even wrote the N-word in the decision. They didn't even write it out.
No, say the word.
Right.
Say the word since it's okay.
Right.
And let your children hear it.
Yeah, why don't you go home and say, hey, and kids.
Exactly. Say it to your child.
What's for dinner?
I want to see a video of her saying that to her little black daughter and son. Say, hey, little N-words, come get your dinner.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
No.
And this is
in nobody's book that's okay.
Justice for
That's
the people
crazy.
for years to come. Okay, everyone
This is going to be who is on our Supreme Court for 40 years.
That's wild.
All right.
We're
So Yo-Yo, I mean, you're in your 30s now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's going to be, for the most of your adult life, this woman is going to be on the Supreme Court for most of your adult life.
Jeez. Man, that's scary.
All right, let's get into some fuzzy Mondays. All right? We got to have some,
Right.
we got to have some, a little nice, something nice, right? All right, so apparently there's a 5-year-old detective, and the 5-year-old detective has helped crack the San Francisco Zoo theft case. Police said Friday they arrested a man suspected of stealing a lemur. A lemur. Is it a lemur or a lemur? How do you pronounce that, Jill? A lemur from the San Francisco Zoo, where officials rewarded a 5-year-old boy who helped recapture the endangered primate with a lifetime membership. That's the lemur. The theft of a maki and a 21-year-old lemur made the news Wednesday when zoo officials reported the animal missing. Now, that's when 5-year-old James Trin went into action. He was unaware of the headlines when leaving his preschool Thursday, about 5 miles from the zoo, and exclaimed, "There's a lemur! There's a lemur!" Now, Cynthia Wong, the director of Hope Lutheran Day School, was skeptical at first. I thought, are you sure maybe it's just a raccoon? But Mackie scurried from the parking lot into the school's playground, took refuge in a miniature playhouse. As the school called police, quickly alerted animal control, and the lemur was finally brought back to the San Francisco Zoo. All because of the bright, wide eyes of a 5-year-old. I want you to know something. I am 52. If this thing ran across right in front of me, I didn't even know how to pronounce the name. Okay, I'd say, oh, there's a raccoon. Would you know that this is like an endangered species?
Oh.
I wouldn't.
But I know that it looks crazy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, a former bodybuilder in Maryland turned his life around by rescuing chihuahuas. Bobby Humphreys was devastated when last New Year's Eve, his now ex-wife left him for somebody else. Now, Humphreys has revealed how he was saved from a brutal battle with depression by adopting more than 50 tiny dogs. It all started with a close friend. 50 dogs he adopted. It all started when a close friend asked him to care for his son's dog, Lady. He said, she asked me if I would mind temporarily keeping her until she could find another place. Of course, I accepted. Lady is a special case who did not like people very much, especially men. Now, after caring for Lady, Bobby knew that he needed to get his own chihuahua. In his quest to find one, he learned more about how many of the dogs need good homes. He said, I know what it's like to not have anyone there to protect you or be there for you, so I made a promise that once with me, they'd never feel this way again. Bobby's first adoptee was a chihuahua called Kira that he found on Craigslist, who went from trying to bite his hand off to sitting on his lap. He has now rescued over 50 pups since opening his Big Guy Little World Sanctuary. Bobby said, I have an incredible relationship with the local animal control who is in charge of my kennel license. They adore what I do. Look at this huge, huge guy with all these tiny, tiny little dogs. Very sensitive man, this man, I guess, Bobby. Would you want to live with 50 dogs in your apartment, in apartment A?
Absolutely not. I had to babysit or doggy sit my friend's dog 2 weeks ago, and I felt like the night that I had it, it threw up. It pooped in my bathroom. He said he would not poop in the house. He started vomiting everywhere. I was like, oh, take this thing. There's no way I could do 50.
You like dogs, Vanessa?
No, it's the picking up dog poop thing for me that it just fits.
Yeah. You know what it is? Dogs are a lot of work. All right, I had them. You got to walk them 2-3 times a day. Then when you come home, especially walking them in the city, their feet are dirty. Then they jump up on your couch. They dirty the couch. Then they jump up on the bed. That's the bed you sleep on with dirty paws. Then they wake you up at 6:30 in the morning till, you got to walk them. If not, they're, peeing on the carpet. So, dogs are not easy, but they're very cute. But they're very cute.
Chihuahuas.
But they're very cute. Jill just said something in my head. She goes, why are we doing Fuzzy Monday? None of you guys like dogs.
Well, I like dogs. I don't like chihuahuas.
I like dogs.
But it's Fuzzy Monday.
I like dogs. I'm not ready for the responsibility of a dog.
We're all complaining about dogs. We're like, okay, it's Fuzzy Monday.
I like dogs. Just not for me.
All right, our last Fuzzy Monday, and then we got to get to our immigration questions. A cafe in Seoul featured some unexpected guests, raccoons. It's the Raccoon Cafe. You can buy drinks and food, but the real main attraction are the raccoons, which are kept in separate rooms divided by glass walls. At this Raccoon Cafe, interspecies mingling is not allowed, but celebrated. If you decide to go to the raccoon rooms, you can bring your dog to meet their fuzzy raccoon friends. There's even a jungle gym for the raccoons to play on. A sign at the cafe explains that one of the more popular raccoons is not in fact pregnant. He's just fat, a consequence of devoted tourists. Ji Hugh Young, owner of the Raccoon Cafe, which also stocks turtles and lizards as well as meerkats, said some people avoided his premises after hearing the virus was first contracted from a wild animal, but eventually customers returned saying the animals helped to put them at ease in the tense times of the pandemic.
I like that. That's cool. I mean, it's just like the little kitty cafe.
Where's the little kitty cafe?
I feel like Jilly and I did a segment of this like with another show from back in the day, and I think it's like a traveling kitty cafe that just like you can go and study or just sit in a room full of kitty cats. You can like rent them, so it's like it's pretty much the same thing. It like eases your mind and it just like relaxes you.
What I think is the bodybuilder should have the Chihuahua Cafe. Okay, he's
There you go.
got 50 dogs. Open up a
Absolutely.
restaurant. People love Chihuahuas, and I'm sure women would love his body too. They love the body. They love the Chihuahuas. I think that's a winning combination. Give beer, burgers, Chihuahuas, and bodybuilders. I think we got a winning combination there. I hope
There you
the
go.
Chihuahua guy is watching. That's the restaurant I would make.
They used to do that in my university, actually. Like every ever so time, they would have like a puppy therapy, and it's like exactly like the cafe. Like they would bring dogs in, and like you could take time and go over there and pet it between classes because it's like Yo-Yo said, like it's soothing and it's therapy.
What was that movie? It was like a movie from like 10, 15 years ago with P. Diddy when he's like, pet the fur, pet the fur. I'm just going through my head with P. Diddy going, pet the fur, pet the fur. But I don't remember.
Did he?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah,
He
get
was
him
in
to
a
the Greek. Yeah, get him to the Greek. With Jonah Hill. That was it. Very good, Jill. Jill with
Jonah
Jill.
Hill.
Yeah. And they were like,
Yeah.
right. And he was like, pet the fur, pet the fur, pet the fur. He was trying to calm him down. All right, so that was Fuzzy Monday, guys. Why don't you tell everybody what they need to do while I do some stretching and get ready to answer your immigration questions.
Absolutely. All right, guys, you already know what time it is for Facebook watchers. I need you guys to start your watch parties. Everybody, it's super simple. All you have to do is press share. It'll say more options, and then you can see watch party and start. It takes the video from our page to your page. So everything that you see on Brad's Show Live or law offices of Spar and Bernstein, it will literally take that same video, and you are the host. You are the one that is going to be bringing everybody in. This is another way to do to get the show out. All right, so make sure you tell them to come to the main page after they've come into your comment section, because we won't be able to see them in your comment section. All right, if they have questions, they need to come to the main stage and ask them. All right, and also sharing. We still have to share, y'all. This is a way to get the show out, and a lot of people like to start watching right now. So let's get the numbers up, because this is where we're going to actually start helping people from all over the world. So make sure you press that share button, share it to anybody's page. You can share it to inbox. That makes it a little bit more personable. You could also copy the link and send it in a text message blast. There's so many different ways to do it, all right? I want you guys to go in the comment section right now and let me know how you shared. Did you share it to someone's page? Did you share it to a community? Did you share it to a group, an inbox, or did you copy the link? I need to know, all right? And I'm going to go in the comment section and check y'all out. All right, Ness-Quick, what are we going to do on YouTube?
I'm in the comment section in YouTube, and I am waiting to see more thumbs up, you guys. This is the time. This is the hour. Let's show Brad all our love, and all we need from you guys is a simple thumbs up, as well as you see that little arrow right below that says share. Click that. Let people know that this is the time that they absolutely need to be tuned into the show, because Brad will be answering your questions coming from you guys, the Brad Squad. So please, let's comment in the comment section, throw up those thumbs up, and make sure we share. Copy this link, send it in a text message, send it in a direct message on a WhatsApp group. Let people know that Brad is about to bring all the knowledge and value that so many of you guys tune into every day. And hey, some of you on the Brad Squad are almost professionals in this legal immigration field too. Let's get this information out there to those that need it. We need to share, you guys. So make sure that you click that arrow and share it to as many places as you can. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, we are on Instagram at Brad Show Live. So make sure that you're following us there and direct message us your questions there as well. Comment, like, and let us know what you're loving. And if you can't catch a full show, you'll catch the best snippets on our show on Instagram. So make sure that you're following us there. So even if you have friends and family that can't tune into the show live, there's always us after on YouTube, or they can catch the best snippets of our show at Brad Show Live. So let's get what you guys have been waiting for, getting answers.
All right. By the way, squad, we have a whole bunch of empty lines. I haven't answered immigration questions live in 3+ weeks. So maybe you forgot to call. So you can right now. We have open lines. I will be able to answer some more questions if you call right now. 1-800-529-5465. But in the meantime, let's go to Bien in Alexandria, Virginia. Bien.
Yes, hello.
Hi, how are you, Bien?
Yeah, I'm good, Mr. Brad. I have a couple of questions.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, my husband has filed for me and my daughters. My daughters are here first on F1 visa, and they've been to the boarding school. And by the time we applied for our adjustment of status, their address was the school. Now that they're no longer be in the school, should we change their address?
Absolutely. So what you're saying, let me just understand, so because it was a little hard to hear. So what you were saying is you came on an H-1B visa with your husband, and I guess he got sponsored in a job, and he's now, you guys as a family are adjusting your status, but your children went to boarding school, so you put their addresses at the boarding school, but they're done with boarding school. Yeah, so you should change their addresses back to your home.
Yeah, but it says the mailing address. The mailing address is our address here.
Yes, yes. That way, for sure, they get it. So I would move both of your children's addresses back to your home, and as a family, you all live there. Even if they go to school somewhere else, their mailing address is still your home.
So if that's the case, we don't have to change the address?
If the children's mailing address is your home, that is their address. You may want to do an AR-11 and say their primary address is now your home as well.
Okay, so we should show you. We should let them know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't want anything to go to the school. They're not there anymore.
Yeah. Even though they stay at the school, their address was my address through me to their home.
Yes.
So we don't have to change anything now.
I'm confused in what you're asking. They go to a school, you have a home. Their permanent address is not the school. They're there on a temporary basis while they're in school. My daughter goes to boarding school. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. My daughter is a senior. She goes to a boarding school. Her permanent address is my apartment in New York City. So that's her permanent address as well as her mailing address.
Okay.
Okay.
But in our case, their physical address is the boarding school, but their mailing address is their home.
I understand that, but don't they come to your home during school breaks?
Yes. In fact,
their permanent address actually is not the boarding school. Their permanent address is your home. Their temporary address is the boarding school. That's really how I would look at it.
Yes, they dropped the boarding school and they started to go to another school. So
so that's not their permanent address. Their permanent address is your home. They go temporarily to a boarding school. Their mailing address is your home. So to answer your question, mailing address, permanent address, all addresses, however you want to describe it, your home.
Your home.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Next question.
Oh, more.
Yeah,
okay.
My next question is, my daughter, I have received mine and my younger daughter's fingerprint, but I didn't receive my older daughter's fingerprint. It's been 2 months since we got ours, and
I would call up the 1-800 number and see if they scheduled a fingerprint and maybe it got lost. That would be the first thing I would do.
Okay.
Okay.
And the last question is, me and my husband got married. We had our previous marriage and children. Is a post-nuptial agreement be considered as a negative point to our financial relationship, to the immigration purpose?
You have a post-nuptial agreement. You don't have to you don't have to show that to immigration.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right. Good.
Okay. All right.
All right. If you need more help, hold on 1 second. Let's go to Murali in Morristown, New Jersey. Murali.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
Very nice to talk to you. Hi, I'm good. I've seen your show only today, and then I'm very glad to actually be on your show again.
Welcome. This is the first time. The first time you've watched my show is today.
Yes, today afternoon, late afternoon, and then I was waiting for this evening. And then,
you watched a taped show from a different day, and here you are. This is your first live experience on Bradshaw Live, and you on your first live experience, you called into the show. Very brave of you, Murali. What can I help? What can I do to help you?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I tried to put it on the Facebook chat as well, so I don't know how to use this. But again, I put this on the chat as well. It's a paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
If you have access, it's easy. Otherwise, I can read it out.
Murali, what's your question?
Okay. Joined wife on L2 along with daughter, but wife entered unprovoked TRO, which resulted in FRO.
Wait. The wife, you're on an L2 visa.
Yes.
Who's the L1? You or your wife?
Wife.
Wife is the L1. You're the L2. Children are L2. Wife came a year ago, and what happened?
She soon after coming, the same month, actually, unprovokingly, she has put a TRO.
Okay, so you have a temporary restraining order against you.
Which went on, yeah, correct. Which went on default.
Were you arrested for any domestic violence?
No.
Okay, all right. So what's going on with you and your wife now?
Okay, then actually, there is I'm reading since still actually, denied getting EAD thereafter when I applied, and then change of status to F1 status also denied because there is a non-cooperation on the documents which we needed to give it to USCIS. Now,
so you're out of status now.
Yeah, so because of that, that didn't happen at the time. But again, started accepting minimum wages on social because I could get the social. And
but you're working without authorization, so you're out of status.
Without authorization.
Yes, you are out of status.
Then court granted divorce and custody of child.
And by the way, and also once you're divorced, you're out of status too. Okay, so you got problems, Murali.
And then applied for B1.
You can't. You're out of status. You already violated your status. There is no change of status anymore.
Yeah, applied.
But you can't. But you're now lying. Murali,
Okay.
We will have, within 24 hours of this show, somewhere between 5,000 to 10,000 people who will watch this show. You have now told 5,000 to 10,000 people that you committed fraud on the government because you lied about working when you weren't. I would, if I were you, zip it and have a consultation. Hold on. Let's go to Davis in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Davis.
Hey, Brad. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just had a quick question. This is not really a personal question, just kind of a type of thing. We noticed that immigrant celebrities who are very high status people, I don't want to name any names, but people from Canada who become very famous and make songs like Baby, they often run into trouble with the law. And I recently read that a certain celebrity was going to apply for citizenship after shortly getting married. And I wanted to know...
Are you talking about Justin Bieber?
Yes.
Okay.
So if the same rule applies to...
The same rule applies to celebrities as it does to anybody else. The only difference is if celebrities are barred, and I don't remember, Justin Bieber I know got arrested or something, but first of all, he has to apply for a green card first. He has to apply for a waiver of that green card based on hardship to his spouse. But ultimately, the same laws apply. Now, you will find celebrities who have committed very serious offenses, and then you say, wait a second, how are they touring in the United States of America? I'll give you a perfect example there. Buju Banton, before he went to jail 15 years ago. Okay, he had multiple convictions for. He was a reggae artist from Jamaica. He had multiple convictions for drugs from Jamaica that would bar almost anybody else from ever entering one foot into America. But for a non-immigrant work visa, if you can show that the benefit to the United States outweighs the reason to deny entry, then you can overcome the drug offense and still be able to get a visa with a waiver. And obviously he won Grammy Awards, so I guess whoever his lawyer was able to show the benefit to the United States outweighs whatever his offense is. That's where you see celebrities being able to travel. But Justin Bieber getting a green card, I don't know what his offenses are, but it's the same laws for everybody.
DUI, drug possession.
Well, if he has if he has a drug possession, he's not getting a green card, no matter what you read in the newspaper.
Okay.
All right.
Because I'm only saying this and asking because I successfully went through the immigration process.
Right. And
it was very difficult and really having to uphold the good moral character. It's unfair.
Does Justin Bieber actually? Does he actually have a drug offense? Because if he has a conviction for a drug offense, unless it's 30 grams or less of marijuana, he's not getting a green card. Now, that doesn't mean he can't get a work visa to come here and do the waiver and show the benefit to the United States outweighs the offense and come here on temporary work visas. But to get a green card and live here or become a citizen, no way. I don't know but I don't know what his criminal record is off the top of my head.
All right. Thank you so much. I just wanted to ask because it just seems unfair sometimes,
Well,
thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. Thanks for calling.
All right.
All right. Jill is looking up Justin Bieber's criminal records. We'll see what he has. Rocky in Whitestone, New York. Rocky.
Hi, Brad.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I have a simple question. Hello.
I'm listening. It's simple. I didn't say anything. If it's so simple, out with it.
Sorry, my bad. I applied for WAVA, and it was approved.
Right.
Now I'm waiting for I-45. It's been like 2 months now. In that case, it's mentioned there the office has jurisdiction on your case, when to know, something like that. So what it has happened and what's going on in my case, I just want to know,
All right. You mumbled the last part. You got the VAWA approved and your adjustment is pending, and you got a letter saying what?
Jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction? What does it say?
Jurisdiction, Juris.
Yeah, what about your jurisdiction means place. It's a place. Yeah. Who has authority, what area has authority to adjudicate your case? So what does it say the jurisdiction is with what? What does it say about jurisdiction?
I-485. That's what. So how long is going to take? I just want to a little bit know about it, this one.
And you're asking me that's the simple question.
Yes, sir.
Your simple question is, when will I get a green card?
Yes, sir.
It's not so simple. I don't know when you're going to get a green card. But I can tell you if your I-360 is approved, they should, within about a year, give or take a couple months one way or the other, and depending on what area of the United States you're in, what happens with the pandemic, does immigration open, does it close? But a good guess, and it's an absolute guess, I have no idea, but a good guess is 1 year from the time of the approval of the I-360.
Okay.
All right?
And one more thing, sorry, I forget this. There's anything which I have to worry about it in these cases? An I-485,
when your I-360 is approved, I don't know about worry, but what's going to happen is you're going to get an interview. And at that interview, they may question you about the evidence or your statements that you submitted on behalf of your I-360 to get it approved, to make sure what you're saying was truthful. There was no fraud. They may also ask you questions about your entry. They may ask you questions that are all determined to determine whether or not you're admissible to the United States. Do you have a criminal record? Have you ever lied to the government? All the things, there's a list on the I-485 It's page after page after page. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Have you ever done this? Yes or no. Have you ever done this? Yes or no. And it's page after page after page. Those are all things that would make you inadmissible if you answer yes or no, depending on what the question was. So they're going to ask you about all that stuff. And if there's anything in your background or history or skeletons in your background, expect to be asked it.
Okay.
All right?
Or anything, they're not going to ask me that question.
I'm sorry?
If I don't have any kind of criminal record, so they're not going to ask me any question like that.
Well, they could say, have you ever been arrested? You'll say no.
Okay.
Okay? They can ask you whatever they want, but you'll just say no. And they'll be like, give me the record. And we're like, there is no record. And we move on. Okay?
Yes.
All right. All right. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
All right. Let's go to Damien in Irvington, New Jersey. Damien.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you for bringing me on your show. It's an honor to be talking to you, sir.
Thank you.
I just have one quick question. Right?
Yeah.
I received my EAD card today and a social security number. I'm just concerned, can I open a bank account with it? Can I get a driver's license?
Yes.
Or is it only for working?
Nope, you can open up a bank account, you can get a driver's license.
Okay, so when the DMV see that it says only for work authorization, they won't have an issue with it?
They will not have an issue with it.
Okay. Thank you very
much. All right, you're very welcome.
Yes.
All right, let's go to Kim in Norfolk, Virginia. Kim.
Hi, Brad.
Hi,
Good
how are
evening.
you? How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. I have two questions. First question is, I have a friend who will be putting in his 10-year green card based off a marriage. However, normally they approve the spouse and then they approve the children. When he's putting in for the 10-year, seeing that his son migrated from Jamaica 3 months after, does he put in for both of them at the same time, or does he do his?
He puts his sons on his. Because his son entered within 6 months of him getting his green card, they're all on one application.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the second question is, his mother was also filing for him in Canada. So since March, his son is in Canada. Is he allowed to do that? Can they do?
You can't be a landed resident in Canada and a permanent green card holder in the United States, because a landed resident in Canada says I'm permanently living in Canada, and a green card holder in the United States says I'm permanently living in the United States. And I'll tell you, no matter how you divide up the pie, you can't be permanently living in two different countries at the same exact time. So you got to pick a country. So once he's a citizen, you can be a citizen of the United States and be landed in Canada if that's where you're permanently living, but you can't have permanent residence to two different countries at the same time.
Okay, so pretty much if he were to send it in now for his son, it would be a waste of money since he's been out of the country since March?
No, it would be a waste of money if the son doesn't intend to keep his green card and stay in Canada forever.
I think he's going to stay over there, but we just wanted to know, seeing that the dad is supposed to do his now.
Put the son's name on it anyway.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Let's go to Tamara in Jamaica. Tamara.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, how are you? How you doing?
I have a question, actually two. If someone gets a green card package to do the 2-year green card, but they were picked up and they're saying that they're illegal in the country, does the package give you a say in the U.S.?
What you're asking is, if somebody files an adjustment of status, does that make them legal in the United States to not be put in deportation? No. That does not prevent them from being put in deportation. However, with a good lawyer, if you have a pending adjustment of status, you can request the immigration judge to adjust your status before him or her, and get your green card through at the time of the hearing for the deportation. But it doesn't, in other words, it doesn't prevent you from being put in deportation, but it could prevent you from actually being physically deported. That's my answer.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's my answer. I didn't say it right the first time. Well, I did say it right, but I said it more succinctly better the second time. Rhona
Hello.
How are you, Rhona, in Rockville, Maryland?
Hi, Brad. How are you?
Good, good. What's going on?
I called you several times before, and I want to ask about this thing. My sister is in Jamaica and she died. She just recently died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My mother filed for her and her little younger daughter. So now that she come.
I'm sorry?
Can my sister...
How old is she?
She's 12.
Okay. Where is the father?
Somewhere around the place there.
All right, so basically the father kind of is not really in the picture.
No.
Okay. So first of all, my condolences. I'm very sorry to hear that. She can't complete the case that she did for the daughter who deceased, for her grandchild. But what she can do if she's a U.S. citizen is she can file an orphan petition for this child in Jamaica. Now, as part of the orphan petition, there is a parent who is alive, the father. The mother passed. So you have to strip the father of his parental rights. So someone has to go into court in Jamaica and strip the father of his rights. You can't get don't get the father to consent to an adoption, because then that's not stripping the father of his rights, then the child's not an orphan. You have to go into a court in Jamaica and have the father, he's not a good father, he's abandoned this child, the mother's passed away, we rule this child an orphan. At the same time, you're in Rockville, Maryland. I assume that's where everybody is. You would go into...
No, my mother's in New York.
Oh, okay, fine. So your mother would go, she can hire us. She's in New York. She can hire us if she chooses. We would take her into Supreme Court and do what's called a pre-adoption. A pre-adoption is we say to a judge in New York, Judge, we have this orphan in Jamaica. We have an American citizen grandmother here. Grandma wants to adopt her orphan grandchild and bring her to America and do the adoption here in America. Look at all the paperwork. If we bring this child into the courtroom, will you sign an adoption? And it's called the pre-adoption. The judge will say yes. I'm not saying it in the legalese term, but I'm saying it in just regular English. The judge will sign something that says yes. When the child comes to my courtroom, I'll sign an adoption. That's the pre-adoption. And you file a pre-adoption with an order from the Jamaican court showing that this child's an orphan, with an I-600 application, which is the orphan petition with immigration, and that brings the child up. So yes, but we would have to do a different process to get the child here.
I suppose I'm the one who wanted to adopt the child.
That's fine too, so then you would do it in Maryland.
Okay. So what happened to the money my sister pays? She had to pay for her visa and stuff like that, but she died.
Yeah, so then all that money is gone, unfortunately. We got to start a new process to bring the child here.
Oh, okay.
All right? Hold on if you need help. Let's go to Lena in Greenbelt, Maryland. Lena.
Hi, Uncle Brad.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I have a question for a friend. She's filing for VAWA because the husband moved out and she's been going through a lot of, abuse. The husband left the house for like 3 months. Then she said the husband came back while she's still filing for VAWA. So her question is, can she move out or is
Why did she let the husband back in the home?
The husband, I don't know. She said the husband came.
She should go to. Well, she has two choices. She can move out if she chooses, or she can go to family court and get an order of protection and getting kicked out of the house. It's one or the other.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, but if she moves, make sure she does an AR-11 with immigration. So they change her address, because other than that, all the mail's going to go to the home where she left the husband, who's going to take it and rip it up, and she won't know anything.
Okay, and she can't stay in there and fire while the husband is still there, right?
Yeah, but why would you want to do that? He's an abusive husband.
Exactly. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
All
Uncle
right.
Brad.
Let's go to Lennox in Charlotte, North Carolina. Lennox.
Hey, Brad. Thank you so much for taking my call, man. Big up to you. Big up to the squad. Thank you for all you do. All right. Well, I spoke to you some time ago, Brad, and about me making the transition from a green card holder to a citizen, but I got past convictions. I told you, I had 2 domestic violence misdemeanors, 2003 and 2007. Yeah, but I did my green card, and I got it back last year.
Great.
And everything. But I finally stood up and said, okay, I'm going to go for my citizenship, and I did. I submitted it 2 months ago, and I just wanted to ask you, because believe me, you do the best. You are the best at this. What exactly do I need to expect at that interview? And then secondly, what's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that could happen is you could get deported. Just because they passed on putting you in deportation when you renewed your green card doesn't mean you're safe. Every time they look at your application, it's a different officer, a different time, and they make a determination whether or not to put you in deportation. And that determination is really based on, they look at all of your records in totality, and they say, is this a person that we can, if we put in deportation, would the government win the deportation case and get him physically out of the U.S.? Because if they feel they can, they'll put you in deportation. If they feel they can't, that even though you may have committed 2 offenses that are deportable, the reality is that if you got put in removal because of your long history here and rehabilitation and hardship to your family and whatever else, would go into you winning your deportation case, they would look at it and realistically say, this guy's not going anywhere. There's no way in the world we're going to get him physically deported. Why would we waste our resources and our time and effort to bring him through an entire process just for him to win his case? At that point, they would most likely make you a citizen. So that's the analysis that goes into whether you become a citizen or the government puts you in deportation. Now, when you went to renew your green card, they made an analysis. An officer at that moment said, we're not going to put him in deportation. We're going to give him back his green card. Whatever that analysis was, they felt that at that point, either they didn't have the resources, the time, or they thought they had a weak case to deport you. They're going to re-look at it all again. That's what's going to happen. Whenever you have a criminal record and you go to do your citizenship, or whenever you go to renew your green card, or even travel outside the United States and come back, that analysis is being done by immigration every time they take a look at you.
Okay. And another question, Brad. For both incidents, it was 6 months, but 178 days suspended. I ended up spending 2 months. Spending 2 months, 2 days.
Right. Now, I will say, if it's a domestic violence offense and it goes by the facts, in other words, there was an incident and it was a family member and there was violence involved, and that's what you pled guilty to, domestic violence is a deportable offense, and you have 2 of them. Does that mean you're going to get deported? No, not necessarily. I'm just saying, when you ask me what's the worst that could happen, I told you the worst.
Right.
That doesn't mean I don't want you to get off the phone with me now and say,
"Oh my."
Yeah, right. I don't want you to get nervous and be like, "Oh my God, I'm going to get deported." Holy shit!
Right.
I didn't say that word. I was about to. Holy, you know what? Brad scared the hell out of me. I'm not saying that's going to happen. All I was saying when you asked me what's the worst that could happen, that is the worst that could happen.
Right, you were honest enough. Yes.
So,
okay.
So
what about
I think
the GMC period.
The good moral.
13 years.
Okay, so right.
Kids.
So what the law says is this. Law says if you have 5 years. The law says if you have 5 years good moral character, and you are. And you don't have any aggravated felonies, and it sounds like neither of these convictions are aggravated felonies, you're entitled to become a citizen. And the only way that they could deny your citizenship is put you in removal.
Okay.
So
but the GMC period, that speaks a lot. I got 2 kids from this marriage that I've been paying child support for 11 years.
What the bottom line is this: if you made one error, I will tell you the error you made, which is when you told me you got the courage up to do it. Okay, but just because you got the courage up to do it doesn't mean you do it without knowledge of what you're doing. So I think if you made a mistake, and I don't know if you made a mistake, you may very well become a citizen. I have no idea. But if you made a mistake, it was, I'm going to do it without the full knowledge of knowing what I'm doing, and then I'm going to call Brad after the fact and ask him, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? This conversation we're having should have happened before you filed, and then we should have had it in a consultation. I think you should still have one, all right? So hold on one second.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Desmond in Dallas, Texas. Desmond.
Hi, Brad, good work. I want to thank you for the good jobs you're doing.
Thank
you so much. Appreciate it. Yes, I'm gonna put in my paper for application for I-751, but I have some concerns, which is the fact that I have my tax transcript. I want to know if I would need to put tax returns as well, and also I want to ask if I have to include my marriage certificate and my past divorce certificate, and also my wife's name is not on the lease agreement, but I go with the apartment office. And then they gave me a paper, they gave me a letter kind of acknowledging that my wife lives with me. And the reason her name is not on the list is because she has a felon.
Okay. All right. So to my answer to everything is yes, yes, and yes. Now let me go back. Okay. When you are filing your I-751 with your wife, with your spouse to remove the conditions, there's only one thing you need to prove. One thing and one thing only.
Okay.
Which is, am I in a bona fide marriage with my spouse? It's the only thing you need to prove. You don't need to prove nothing else. Am I in a bona fide marriage with my spouse? And if anybody, and I know lots of you have, watched Brad Show Live for the last 3 years, we know what a bona fide marriage is. You physically live together, you have a financial relationship with your spouse. So when you do your taxes, you do your taxes jointly. What does a joint tax return demonstrate to immigration? It demonstrates that you commingle your income and you are both responsible for the debts of your marriage, including tax debt. When you show a lease, it shows you're living together. But if you can't show her on the lease, at least you have a letter from the landlord saying they know she's living in the apartment.
Right.
Okay. What was your third question? I forgot. It was taxes, lease, and there was one else. I said yes. I said yes to everything, though.
The first question was, I have tax transcript, but do I need to include tax return as well?
Yes. Well, the tax transcripts should be sufficient to show you're filing a joint tax return, so you don't need the return. The second question.
The second question was, I got the divorce. I divorced my ex-wife.
Yes, you got to show all that stuff again. Correct. The marriages and the divorces and everything. And lastly, the lease. All right, so I answered all your questions. Hold on if you need help. All right. Maria in Hollywood, Florida. Maria.
Hi, Brad. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. I have two questions, actually. The first one is that I entered in United States in 2015 with my two kids. The one is 14 years old and the other one is 12 years old. Can I apply DACA for them?
Not at the moment, no, unless they're already part of DACA. They're not accepting new DACA applications.
Okay, and another question. I have one more kid who was born here, and can I apply something, like on behalf of her? I'm taking care of the U.S. citizen child born.
Well, let me put it to you this way. If it was easy to get a green card because you gave birth here, everybody would be getting knocked up. I'm not saying you got knocked up, but everybody would be like, well, I'm going to have a baby. Okay, so so they don't do that. They don't allow you just because you have a baby here. That doesn't mean, okay, now all of a sudden you get a green card, because then all of a sudden we'd have a lot of pregnant women. So instead, what they say is when the child reaches 21. So you have a long way to go if you just gave birth or you have a baby or an infant. Now, what the law also says is, God forbid you get put in deportation and you're here out of status, and you've been here for more than 10 years, and you could show a hardship to your U.S. citizen child, then they would suspend your deportation and give you a green card. It's called cancellation of removal. But I'm not going to suggest that you go try to put yourself in deportation if in fact you've been here for 10 years and give that theory a try, because if you lose, you get deported. Just know that that's the, God forbid you get put in deportation. That's how you get out of it. If you've been here for that long. That's how you use a child to get out of it. All right?
Okay, so I don't have anything to apply for my work permit or something like that?
Not at the moment, unless you want to marry the father of the child, if he's a citizen.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
All right, sorry about that, Marie. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Block A. Block B. By the way, I do have to, I lost track of where I am. In today's Braducation, I answer the question, what happens when my TPS expires? Let's watch. When your TPS expires, unfortunately, you go back to whatever position you were prior to you getting TPS. So if you were on a student visa and you got TPS, then presumably you would go back to student visa status. If you were on TPS and you were out of status when you got your TPS, then you would fall back out of status. If you were already previously ordered deported and you got TPS and TPS is over, you would go back to having an order of deportation and perhaps even a warrant after your arrest. Every person who is on TPS should figure out what they're going to do once TPS expires and not wait for that time to happen. All right, by the way, if you didn't get your questions answered in our Calling Brad segment, getting answers to your immigration segment, that's what we usually call it, you can always follow me on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein. If you follow me on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein, you can drop me a DM. I will try to answer your questions. Just say, hey, part of the Brad Squad, asking a question. I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. You can also follow us at Brad Show Live on Instagram. If you follow us at Brad Show Live, you can't handle 2 hours of the best immigration show, social justice show, infotainment show. At least in last year's Synopsis Awards, they said we were the best. Then you can watch 2 minutes of the best of highlights, biteable highlights. Yo-Yo and Vanessa, you got anything you want to tell anybody?
Yeah, you guys can follow me at Yonathan Elias TV on all social media platforms.
And you guys can find me at Vanessa.Contreras TV.
All right, so in today's Spar and Bernstein close-up, partner and immigration attorney Shannon Laguerre answers the question, are immigration court hearing cases during the pandemic? Let's watch.
The immigrants who are detained basically in immigration jail, they have had their court hearings going forward. So that's Varick in New York, that's also Ulster County and Fishkill. As of now, the non-detained docket, which is people who are not in jail and who are basically outliving their life, but they are basically in immigration court. The New York City courts are closed. They've been closed since March. In New York with Varick and Fishkill and Ulster County, they're only doing detained dockets. That's all they're doing. So some places around the country, they are only conducting detained docket hearings because someone's life and liberty is at stake. They are now detained and they want to get out, right? Whether they are released with some form of relief, whether they are deported, but people don't want to sit in jail, right? So at this point, it's really important that you have their hearings and that they be conducted in some manner. The judges would call me while I was on lockdown at home. They would call me on my landline to basically conduct the hearing.
All right, so meanwhile, the Justice Department's Executive Office for Immigration Review, they have announced today that hearings in non-detained cases of courts without an announced date are postponed through and including November 6, 2020. This includes the continued closure of New York City immigration courts for non-detained hearings. For the latest operational status of courts nationwide, you can visit the Executive Office for Immigration Review website, and we have it there on the bottom, www.justice.gov/EOIR/operational-status. All right, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. Let's do something
Yes,
we
we
like
are.
to call social media check-in. What do we got?
All right, our first question comes from Roberlin on YouTube asking, are there any new updates for F2B categories?
New updates for F2B categories. What are the new updates? We go to Visa Bulletin. And in Visa Bulletin, let's see what we got. What happened to Visa Bulletin? There we go. You go, just Google Visa Bulletin. It's the easiest thing to do in the world. And the update is they are processing outside of the United States July 8th, 2015, except there's a pandemic proclamation, so nobody's really allowed to come outside of the United States. Inside the United States, they're also processing July 18th, 2015. If you're eligible to adjust here, you would get your green card.
The next one comes from Vivian's Zarbian on YouTube. What happens to my application if my spouse dies?
That's the end of the application as well. If your spouse filed for you, though, it converts automatically from a spousal petition to a widow petition, and then you complete the case as a widower.
Okay, Muhammad Abu on YouTube asks, I had an E-felony for fourth degree conspiracy before 11 years ago in the U.S., and I got deported 11 years ago. My love of my life came to Jordan. We got married before 2 years ago, and she is with me in my home country. Do you think that my felony will hurt me for applying for a green card?
It depends what the felony's for. Did he tell us what the felony is for?
He just said an E-felony fourth degree conspiracy.
Conspiracy to distribute drugs. You are never coming back to America again.
Oh,
sorry.
Whoa.
Unless they change the law. I don't see anybody changing the law anytime soon where the government says, okay, if you got deported for conspiracy to distribute drugs, you can come back.
Got you.
Wow.
Yeah.
SJ on YouTube, my expedited process at NVC for EB3 nurse is under review for about a month now. Is it due to the embassy not responding to NVC, or NVC itself is taking time to review the case?
I don't know what the problem is with your particular case, but you could have a consultation with me and we could figure it out.
Okay, Saifi Darbo on YouTube asks, how long does it take after an interview to get your green card if the case was approved on the spot?
About 8 weeks.
Singleton Leonard on YouTube, I'm currently having an I-360 pending, and now I'm about to get married. What should I do to get my case stopped so I can file as married?
You have an I-360 pending, so there's a VAWA case pending, and you're going to give up that VAWA case, and now you're going to get married and do an adjustment. You're going to withdraw the VAWA and file a new adjustment based on your marriage.
Lasha Bernades on Facebook asks, my I-130 case petition for an undocumented relative is still pending from the end of August 2019. There's been no response from immigration. Is this normal?
What's been pending since 2019?
The I-130 case petition for an undocumented relative.
I don't know who the relative is. It could be a brother, sister. It could take 10 years. That could be normal. If it's your husband, it could be, also normal. It's not unheard of, but 2019 is a long time for a spouse, not necessarily for a brother, sister. So who's the relative?
Well, you don't know. Okay, next one comes from Max Taylor on YouTube. Can a green card holder file for an extension to get a work permit for a child who is over 21 and is here in the U.S. and still in status? Time finished in January.
What do they want to do?
Can a green card holder file for an extension to get a work permit for a child who is over 21 and is here in the U.S. and is still in status?
A green card holder can sponsor a child, but you're on a waiting list for 5-6 years. You can't file, not an extension, I guess an adjustment. You can't file an adjustment immediately for a child over the age of 21 unless you have an approved I-130 and the priority date is current. Then the answer is yes. But I think the question that they're asking is, there's a green card holder and his child or her child is over 21 and in the United States and is in legal status. Can I adjust their status? The answer is no, unless you have the approved I-130 and that priority date is current. As I said, the priority dates are up to July 8th, 2015.
All right, Mario Navis on Facebook asks, my mom married a U.S. citizen in 1998. He filed an I-130 petition for her, but he ended up divorcing her before the I-130 was approved. Can she claim Section 245I to AOS her EB3?
When was this first application filed?
1998. Or no, the mom married the U.S. citizen in 1998. So he filed the I-130 petition for her. It must have been like right after.
Okay. If she was physically here on December 21st, 2000, the answer is yes.
Oh, okay.
Zargoza fam on Facebook. My husband petitioned my 3 kids in the Philippines. The petition was approved last month and it was now transferred to NBC, but my youngest daughter still needs evidence because her birth certificate was registered late and we are waiting for DNA. Do I have to wait for her approval before I go on to NBC?
Yes.
Okay, Sean Hicks on Facebook asks, my wife's case arrived here on a visitor's visa and overstayed. Applied for asylum back in 2004, it was denied. Appealed in 2005, and it was granted voluntary departure in absentia, which is now an automatic deportation order. She also has a misrepresentation of a material fact in her immigration file. We haven't approved I-130. Our attorney said she'll need a waiver for the misrepresentation. We have to file a motion to reopen her case. We have a 3-year-old daughter who is my heart and a young man who is about to turn 7 years old, my baby boy. If something were to happen to me before a motion to reopen was granted, can my wife file under case law 204L?
If something were to happen to you, you were to die. That's 204L is dying. She would still need to reopen her deportation case. And if it's an in absentia order, that means she didn't show up. The way to reopen the deportation case is prove you didn't get proper notice. Assuming that the case is reopened for not proper notice, and God forbid you were to pass away, under Section 204L, your wife would be eligible to adjust her status and show hardship to herself for the waiver. All right, last one, Vanessa.
Yeah, last one comes from Posh a la Mode on
Posh a la
Instagram.
Mode. I'm hungry. I didn't eat lunch today, and I hear a la mode, and then I'm thinking posh a la mode, apple a la mode, ice cream, cake, right?
Sounds
is that
good.
is that the first thing that popped in your head when you were at posh a la mode?
Absolutely,
right?
for me, because
Yes.
I'm hungry.
Yes. All right.
Can I apply for an EB3 adjustment of status after getting an approval on my I-140 if I still have a pending change of status B2 F1 application for 2 years?
I think
all my B2.
Yeah, I think I answered this yesterday. What I told him, you can finish and then I'll tell you what, so everyone could hear. I apologize. I interrupted you.
And it says all
Right.
my B2 extensions are still pending.
Yes, and by the way, it was Friday I asked this, and you wouldn't know because you weren't answering. I remember reading this question. I said yesterday, everyone's like, you were on the show on Sunday? I didn't know you had a Sunday show. No, there was no Sunday show. It was Friday. I get confused sometimes. What I said is the answer is yes, but you still have to get all those other change of statuses approved, and I question whether or not it will get approved or not if it's pending 2 years. That's very odd. Okay, with that, Vanessa and Yo-Yo, I recently spoke with Maurice Ashley, the first black grandmaster of chess, who gives back to the community in the United States and abroad by teaching young people about the game. We discussed chess and his personal immigration story from Jamaica to America. Let's check it out. Maurice Ashley came to America as a child from Jamaica and made history in 1999 when he became the first black grandmaster of chess. He is now giving back by teaching chess to youth around the world to improve their lives. Maurice has received multiple awards for his contribution to the game and was inducted into the United States Chess Hall of Fame in 2016 and the Brooklyn Technical High School Hall of Fame in 2018. He joins me today to discuss his chess career. Welcome, Maurice. How are you? Thanks for coming on.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Brian.
Okay, so I don't know anything about chess. I know there's kings and queens and rooks and bishops and pawns, and I'd probably be the pawn that would get knocked out first.
That's a lot. That's a lot more than other people know.
Tell me, what is a grandmaster?
Grandmaster is the highest title that you can have in chess. It's like your 10th dan in karate, right? It's the best of the best.
So it's not a black belt. It's like 10th degree black belt.
Exactly.
What goes into becoming a grandmaster?
Actually, it's quite specific what the requirements are. The International Chess Federation, called FIDE, which is in charge, the governing body in charge of all international titles in chess, they have regulated it very specifically that you have to get these so-called norms in competitions against other international grandmasters and international masters as well. Top players essentially around the world. So if I may use a basketball analogy, imagine in order to become an all-star, you had to play 10 people, and the 10 people would be LeBron James and James Harden and Steph Curry and the top players. And so in order to become that, you had to go one-on-one against them. And then they said, well, listen, if you can go one-on-one and beat 5 of them, you might lose 5, but if you beat 5 of them, you're in with the club. Now, against that club, you might just beat 2 of them and then be like, this guy can play. So they have it very mathematically set out based on ratings, and we have to do that in competition against other grandmasters as well in order to prove ourselves.
What did it take to become a grandmaster?
Personally, I mean, the study was hours and hours every single day. We're talking minimum 5, most likely 8 to 10, where you're just pouring yourselves into chess books. You're going over grandmaster games from the past. We can record all the games. So that's really a useful tool for studying the best moves from the past. Chess has an amazing history. It goes back 1,500 years in a different form, about 500 years in its present form. And you have all the great players in history going into the Italian game in the 1600s, Philidor in France in the 1700s, discovering new methodologies. You go into the 1800s, and you get Paul Morphy, who was a top American player. You come into into the 20th century, you get the rise of the Russian school, and now it's the internet age, the digital age, and all of it you have to study, digest, imbibe, just figure out what are the best techniques that I can learn, and then create your own so that you can surprise people.
Chess started, I guess, the Roman era.
The best historical records we have for chess give its roots in India and around the 5th century. The game we play right now, we just call chess. The Chinese call Western chess, but it's proliferated to over 200 countries.
And probably one of the oldest games that survives to this day, I would assume. Right?
Absolutely. And it's a fascinating game because its continuity has shown that it's a metaphor for human thought. The fact that people embrace the game of chess and talk about chess that way, how it helps strategic thinking and planning and decision-making and the like, shows that it somehow marries well with the human mind and the way we think abstractly. And everybody understands the power, the potency of chess as a metaphor for life.
Now, you're originally from Jamaica, right?
Correct.
What is your family's immigration story?
My mother first came here ahead of us. She had 3 children, my older brother, Devon, my younger sister, Alicia, and of course, myself. And she had the opportunity to come to the U.S. in the 60s as part of the whole immigration movement at the time in the Caribbean. And she came to New York City. She worked as a nanny at first and then found an office job and spent the next 10 years getting herself stabilized and getting our papers in order. And it was 10 years later, August 28th, 1978, when we finally got a chance to move and be with her. We were living with our grandmother, her mother, at the time for those 10 years.
When were you introduced to chess?
Jamaica was a big games place, still is. Everybody played board games, some dominoes, some draughts, some ludi, and chess happened to be one of the games that my brother picked up with his friends. I was a young child, 8, 9 years old at the time. We played casually, but it wasn't until I came to the States, went to Brooklyn Tech High School, that I saw a friend playing, and I remembered I knew the rules of the game, played him, he crushed me. I found a chess book. I didn't go looking for it. It actually found me in the library. I opened it up, read it, went to play him again to beat him with all the strategies I found in the book. He crushed me again. Turns out that he had read that book and a bunch of other books. but that started the love affair, the competition between me and that friend of mine. It's a whole attitude. It's a mindset of excellence and performing at the highest level.
What did your parents think about your fascination?
With the vision of us getting a college degree and getting real jobs, accountant, lawyer, doctor, good, solid jobs that made sense to her, get married, have some kids, and have a good life. I told her chess when I was in high school. She looked at me like I had 3 eyes. What are you talking about? Chess? I remember when I got my master's title from playing in chess tournaments, and I got a certificate sent home. That's all it was. And I showed it to her, and she looked at it. She said, first words out of her mouth, "Where the money there? Where's the money? Like, show me the money. What is this?" I was like, what? So no, she did not approve. She called my father up. They were separated. She called him up and said, "Talk to your son. He's got this chess thing on his mind. Please convince him otherwise." And he said, "Don't worry. He's going to quit it soon. No problem."
4 years later, here you are. So who shaped your chess knowledge as a child?
I got my hands on any book I could, library, I lived in it, and studying on my own. But eventually, I had a very fortunate, formative experience where I met a group of African-American males, largely African-American, they were also Latino, who loved chess. They played in the parks and they played in each other's homes. And I got to play against them. They allowed me to come in the group, not so that they could teach me, but so they could whoop my ass and put me in my place.
These were older men?
Yes. These guys were, I would say, 5 or 6 to 18 years older.
Now you mentor children yourself. So you're doing formal mentoring, something you really didn't, you're describing you never had. So where do you teach chess?
My formal mentoring days, teaching days with kids began actually in the late 80s. I've got a group of kids from Brooklyn and from Harlem in particular, a group called the Raging Rooks that I taught for a couple of years, took them to the middle school, junior high school, they call it championships, and they won the national title. They ended up on the front page of the New York Times. Harlem teenagers checkmate a stereotype was the headline. And it's been a love affair of mine to impact kids' lives through chess since then. Today, I actually oversee a chess program for the Police Athletic League, Clint DA's office here in Brooklyn. And we have a couple of centers. I have teachers going in, guide those teachers, make sure that everything's running well. We're talking about pre-COVID. And why it's great for kids is it teaches great decision making. It teaches you to understand that there are consequences to every single decision, clarity of thought, goal setting, understanding that there is someone else on the other side who is just as smart as you are, if not smarter. You have to respect their ideas. It's not all about you. It's a whole discipline masking as a game.
Besides the mentoring you're doing here, you're also mentoring children all over the world, including Africa. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I'm very excited about my trips to Africa. I've been to 8 countries in Africa now. And I particularly started some programs that are in West African countries, specifically Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. And I've gone to those places now a couple of times, found the best kids in the country, working with the chess federations there and working with those kids, teaching them chess, giving them ideas of how to improve. It's been wonderful to work with those kids. They're passionate about the game. They don't have a lot of resources, so we try to bring in resources and have that hands-on connection as well. And it's been incredibly satisfying to teach those kids, but not only that, but to go back to the motherland. And it's just, it helps me as much as it helps them.
Did you ever think you were going to become a chess grandmaster?
I was obsessed by the idea of becoming a chess grandmaster. Chess found me. It infected my soul, my mind, what I wanted to do every single day. I had found my passion. You know, you're talking about literally 40 years later, I'm still a student of the game. I wasn't just trying to become a grandmaster. I was trying to become the best grandmaster on the planet. That's a tall order by itself, but I was trying to become the world champion. So grandmaster was a step along the path. So when I became a grandmaster, yes, I was deeply gratified by it, but you know, the road didn't end there. Unfortunately, life took me other ways and I never became the best player ever, but you know, I'm quite satisfied.
You did become the first Black person to ever become a grandmaster. I believe, you can correct me, you're also the first Jamaican to become a grandmaster. How does that make you feel? What does it mean to you?
Well, I would say it's a mixed bag. Certainly, I'm extremely proud to have accomplished what I accomplished. Coming from the background as you described it, it was a lot to overcome. And I'm proud to represent Jamaica, and I'm proud to represent people of color in any endeavor. It's an honor and a privilege and a blessing. At the same time, it really shouldn't matter. It's ridiculous. Everybody can be great. Everyone should have the opportunity, not have to overcome overwhelming odds in order to be successful. And it should not be noted that, oh, by the way, you're Black. Like, I got that. But you know what I am? I'm a guy who worked my tail off, had a dream, pushed as hard as I could, and finally accomplished that goal of becoming a grandmaster and reaching the heights in something that I love dearly. And that's what life should be about. So I consider it the problem of our society that we have these labels and distinctions on humanity. But at the same time, I'm very real to the fact that they do indeed exist. And it matters that we have representation. If I can be one example in the stream of many examples that we have that are unrecognized at the moment or under-recognized, then I'm proud of that.
So what did your mom think when you were able to finally become a grandmaster? Did she come around?
I tease her all the time when she's bragging to her friends. I say, wait. I remember when. She's exceedingly proud. Absolutely. She's got articles and pictures, my Hall of Fame plaque in her home. She's very, very happy right now.
So what's the state of chess in the United States right now?
Chess is actually thriving worldwide, and in America, absolutely. We've had the kind of boom that one would not have expected recently, I think because people in administration, schools, after-school centers, they recognize the benefits of chess, and it's so cheap. It's an inexpensive way to teach kids the skills that we all want them to have. And the kids have fun doing it. So we've had an amazing boom in the US. We also have had a great increase in the skill level of players in the United States. So now we're the #2 highest rated country on the planet, the top 10 players, just behind Russia. And we've recently won an Olympiad, which we haven't done in over 70 years.
Do you see a lot of minorities and immigrants excelling in chess, participating in chess?
If you go to a national championships, talking about elementary school, middle school, high school, you'll find an incredible level of diversity.
That's amazing.
I mean, kids coming from all walks of life, all over the country. And it's wonderful to see chess be the great equalizer as these kids intermingle, get to meet each other and realize that we all can come together and play. And that should be representative of what we do in life.
So you're also the author of Chess for Success and several other books about mastering the game. Where can people find your books and find more out about you?
Hate to say it, but you got to go to Amazon. You can go to my website and check out a lot on mauriceashley.com. And so I'm coming out with some new material, including an app that I'm developing, or I should say redeveloping, refreshing an old app from back in the day. I'm updating it, including a little trash talking element as well. So it's going to be fun. So you can look for it in all the stores. It's going to be Maurice Ashley Teaches Chess. It's called Match, which is kind of cool. Maurice Ashley Teaches Chess. You get that? And I'm going to be also starting a Twitch channel. You go on Twitch and look up GM Ashley. You'll see me running my mouth, giving instruction, playing people, doing puzzles, talking all things chess. And that also should be starting soon. So get to my website or follow me on social media. At my various social media places I'm on.
Tell me what the American dream means to you, and have you achieved it?
My mom came to the United States with a dream, and the dream was really very simple. It was to get herself to a place where she could bring her children up to make sure they had a better life, that they thrived in an environment that would recognize their talents and reward their hard work. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she was 64 when she took on the task of raising 3 grandkids after having had 7 children of her own in a time when she was elderly and could have just sat back and relaxed and gone into her twilight years. She took it on to raise her daughter's 3 kids. And I never got to see my grandmother after I left Jamaica, which profoundly affects me to this day. But the dream of those two women was that we would be successful, that we would reach our highest heights. My brother became a world champion kickboxer 3 times over. My sister became a 6-time world champion boxer.
Wow.
And I became a history-making grandmaster. We're living the dream of those two great women. And I would say, yes, we did achieve the American dream.
Well, I can say those two great women did a great job. And congratulations to you on being a grandmaster and all the great work you're doing with chess, and best of luck to you in your future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, I'm going to try to be the grandmaster of the speed round. Grandmaster Sensei, Uncle Brad, will try to answer 9 immigration questions in 50 seconds with the help of Yonathan, Yo-Yo, Elias, and Vanessa, Ness-Quick, Contreras, somewhere out in the clouds.
Yeah.
Somewhere out in the clouds. You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Let's go.
Will the VAWA cases be eligible under the new premium processing HR 833-7 law?
I don't have the slightest idea.
Can someone with a B1, B2 visa apply for a DV lottery?
Yes.
Can a person be adopted 1 month before they turn 18 to get their citizenship?
No.
How long is the waiting time for the I-730 and I-602 visas?
I-130 is I-130. It depends on who's sponsored. Brother, sister, 1 year to 10 years.
Does juvenile delinquency felony affect citizenship?
No.
Can I request for a medical humanitarian permit for my mother while waiting on the response of a 601?
You can try.
For I-130, do they interview the U.S. citizen child filing for the parent who wants to adjust status? A long question.
Yeah.
Right. Asking me forms that don't even exist.
Right. Right.
All right. So what was the question? What's the 730? There is no 730. All right. What was the last two?
For I-130, do they interview the U.S. citizen child filing for the parent who wants to adjust status, or just the parent, or both?
Both.
Do you think this Justice Barrett will take away Obamacare?
Good question. Only the Magic 8 Ball knows, but I think so.
Okay, and last is, if a person is undocumented in the U.S., can they work legally and pay taxes?
They cannot work legally, but they can pay taxes.
All right.
All right. Comments of the day.
Okay, our first comment of the day comes from Jeremy Goldberg, one of our own, saying, "What a ham! It's Groundhog Sam." Coming in with some rhymes on a Monday.
Wow. We are picking that's a little what is that? What's the word I'm looking for? I don't like when you win a contest and they say not eligible if you are a family member of somebody who works for the company. What is that? What's that word I'm looking for? I forgot the word I'm looking for. It's late, 8 o'clock. I've been working for 12 hours. Nepotism. Thank you very much, Jilly. That was a little too much nepotism. Continue. Next comment of the day.
Okay.
Our next comment of the day comes from Yulin King, and they say, "Hi, Brad, Vanessa, and Yo-Yo. So glad you guys are back. It's always a pleasure to make my evening every day. Thanks for your time and great information every single day. Love you guys."
Oh, see? Very nice. Very nice. And we have no relationship to that person. They just did it out of the kindness of their heart.
Yes. All right, guys. Our next comment of the day comes from Paulette Bryce and Cameron. Squad up, family. The best immigration lawyer in the world is on.
Aw, very nice.
Yes.
And our last and final comment of the day comes from Melanie, and she says, "Hello, Uncle Brad. Glad to have you back safe and sound. Thanks for all you do for us."
Thank you, Melanie. All right, so we're going to be back safe and sound tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, except we're not Batmen and Batwomen. We're just going to be here for your enjoyment and information. See you then. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAWLINK. 1-800-529-5465.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
What are you doing?